Hi, welcome to TSAT. So in this session, we're going to do a very important discussion about medieval Indian history. In medieval India, for us, the contributions of Delhi Sultanate and the Mughal kings, both in literature and in language, along with architecture, the three dimensions are very, very important for us in our syllabus. So language, literature, and architecture. The contributions of both Delhi Sultanate and Mughals in these are to be discussed in this session. So we will approach this session also with the MCQs. So we will see some of the previous year questions and multiple choice questions and eventually complete the syllabus. Let us see the first question for the day. Which of the following was the language of administration under the Delhi Sultans? Persian, Hindi, Arabic, more than one of the above. The answer for this question was Persian. See, Delhi Sultans, if you observe, they were actually by origins they were Turkic or Turk-Mongol. As ethnicity, as per their background, if you observe, there were the dynasties, like for example the Mameluke dynasty, the first dynasty of Delhi Sultan, they were Turki. Then the Khiljis, they were Turk-Mongol. Then came the Tughlaqs, they were also Turk-Mongol. Sayyids, Lodis, actually none of these were Persian by ethnicity or by origins. But Delhi Sultanate or the kingdom actually had the language as Persian. Persian was the official language of the kingdom. Now this also historians have concluded because much of the language, much of the publications, almost everything official as well as non-official, and even the literature of the period was actually given in Persian language. The Delhi Sultanate literature began with the rise of Persian speaking people. Most of these Persian speakers actually came to the throne of the Delhi Sultans. So even Persian writers, Persian literature, literates, they were all there in the Delhi Sultanate kingdom, naturally resulting in the spread of Persian language in India. Now what started from official also eventually became the common language of the people. So in Delhi Sultanate period, not only the official language, even the common language of the people ended up becoming Persian. It was official language, and soon literary works of the language began to appear. Initially, Persian literature only talked about those topics that were familiar to those from Persia, like society, societal rules, art forms, literature, only those, and painting. But as time went, the dimension of the books and the dimension of the literature expanded. More and more content, more and more subjects were written in the Delhi Sultanate. Gradually, as more Indians learnt Persian, the literary works began to have a more Indianized theme. You can say, for example, Amir Khusrau was a very noted writer of the Sultanate era. He was a literate, he was a philosopher, writer, contributor in art and culture. He was also a musician who was one of the finest writers to write Persian literature about events concerning India of the Sultanate period. About India of the Sultanate period, Amir Khusrau wrote a lot. His inspiration came from events he saw around his time. His works, his poems, his literary works actually talked about the kingdom, the achievements of the kingdom, the social practices, the people, all written in Persian. All of these written in Persian. Next point. Next question. Who constructed the 𝗂𝗚𝗨giri fort on the border of Delhi Gurugram region? Razia Sultana, Iltutmish, Qutbuddin Aibak, Balban. The answer is Balban, also called Ghiyasuddin Balban. Ghiyasuddin Balban was actually the last greatest king of the Mameluke dynasty of the Delhi Sultanate. He tried very hard to destroy the power of Mewatis of the Delhi Haryana section, who were very, very powerful, and he constructed the 𝗂𝗵𝗚𝗨 fort on the borders of Delhi, Gurugram, basically to work like a military cantonment to control Mewatis. Mewatis were a type of dacoits, or what we call thuggis, who were looting people on this important trading route. Ghiyasuddin Balban was actually the Sultan of Delhi from 1266 to 1287 AD. Some books will also mention it as 1288. No issues. It might have been somewhere between 1287 to 88 AD. He was the most powerful sultans of the Middle Ages. In fact, he was in reality a slave of 𝗓𝗏𝗡𝗡. He rose to power just like his master 𝗓𝗏𝗡 and became the Sultan of Delhi. Balban was also a member of 𝗓𝗏𝗡's most popular 40 Turkic slaves, commonly called Çahalgani. 𝗓𝗏𝗡 was the second king in the Mamluk Empire of the Delhi Sultanate. 𝗓𝗏𝗡 used to have 40 advisors or 40 nobles, who were all Turkic by origin, called Çahalgani. Some books also call them 𝗬𝗫 or 𝗓𝗏𝗪. He was actually part of that. Balban was born also Turkic. He was eventually purchased by 𝗓𝗏𝗡 in one of the markets, and he became the slave of 𝗓𝗏𝗡. He was eventually raised to the position of Amir-e-Shikar, Lord of the Hunt, under the reign of Razia Sultana, 𝗓𝗏𝗡's daughter. He introduced Persian practices into the Turkic court. See, his kingdom was a Turkic court, Turkic background, but he introduced Persian practices of Sijda and Paibos. Sijda is basically kneeling down before him. Paibos is actually kissing his feet before talking to him. So when he became the king, he made people do Sijda and Paibos. He also put an end to the Chalisa for the community to which he actually belonged to, because they were the ones who made him the king. He made sure they did not exist to remove him. He also had two titles, 𝗳-𝗦𝗓𝗍, 𝗳-𝗦𝗓𝗍, and 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗁, that is shadow of God, nominated by God. Two titles he gave to himself. He assembled a military to fight the Mongols. He restricted Mongols from entering India. He is also one of the first to create a military affairs department called Diwan-e-Arz, headed by Arz-e-Mumalik. This was a department for military affairs, not military control. This is more equivalent to today's defense ministry. Before Balban, the greatest ruler was Razia. Razia was born to a Turkic slave of Delhi Sultan Shamsuddin 𝗓𝗏𝗡. She was the daughter of 𝗓𝗏𝗡, and 𝗓𝗏𝗡 is a slave. Her original name is Raziatuddin, Razia Begum, or Sultana Razia. In fact, very rarely in medieval India we actually see a female ruler, and in the history of Delhi, she was the first and also the only female ruler of Delhi. She was the first, the last among Muslims as well as Hindus to occupy the throne of Delhi. Her mother, Turkan Khatun, was the chief wife of 𝗓𝗏𝗡, daughter of Qutbuddin Aybak. Razia, when she came to power, in fact, she coming to power itself was controversial because she was a woman. When she came to power, she broke the conservative rules of the Sultanate by removing hijab and niqab, the head covering and face covering. She removed both. She used to ride a horse. She did everything as a king she was expected to do, but simultaneously she broke all the social rules and restrictions which were there for a woman of that period. So that's why she became very controversial. Next question. Which of the following rulers issued copper coins called jital? Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Firoz Shah Tughlaq, 𝗓𝗏𝗡, and Quli Qutub Shah. Jitals were basically silver coins, copper coins, and along with copper jitals, there are also something called silver thanka. These are actually introduced by Shamsuddin Iltutmish. He is also called Shamsuddin al-Tamash. The modern day Urdu word tankha is coming from silver tankha, silver coin. He introduced silver tanka and copper jital, copper coin. His capital became Delhi. He started in Lahore but moved his capital to Delhi. He was succeeded to throne after Qutbuddin Aybak, his master. He was also married to Aybak's daughter, and he was also Aybak's slave. Slave come son-in-law of Qutbuddin Aybak. To run his kingdom and to support him in running his kingdom, he actually brought 40 advisors from Turkey called Chalisa, 𝗓𝗏. And another king who is mentioned in that options is Firozshah Tughlaq, very famous Tughlaq king, established, known for a lot of reforms or administrative reforms. He established Diwan-e-Khairat, Office of Charity, established by Firozshah Tughlaq. Diwan-e-Bandagan, Department of Slave Affairs, established by Firozshah Tughlaq. He is also known to have built few towns, Firozabad, Fatehabad, Jaunpur, Hisar, all to his name. In fact, he actually had Khan-e-Jahan Maqbal Khan, a Telugu Brahmin convert, as his wazir. Wazirs were basically prime ministers who helped the king in their day-to-day administration and also had the job of maintaining the prestige and power of the Sultanate. The third option which is given there is Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He was a Tughlaq dynasty's second ruler. He shifted during his period there were a lot of experiments which were done, like for example moving capital from Delhi to Devagiri, renaming Devagiri as Daulatabad, situated in Maharashtra, building a road from Delhi to Daulatabad, introducing bronze tanka as against silver tanka. He also established Diwan-e-Kohi. In fact, introduction of bronze tanka is believed to be one of the first demonetization experiments. The only problem was when the king introduced bronze coins of the same value of silver coins, everybody in Delhi was a bronzesmith. So people simply started making duplicate or counterfeit coins, and it led to very hyperinflation. So was the movement of capital Delhi to Daulatabad. Delhi to Daulatabad movement of capital was not done just like that. It was not just re-establishment of a new capital. As the famous quotation goes, it was basically Mia, Biwi, Bacha, Bhais, Bakri, Makan, Dukan, everything moving all the way from Delhi to Daulatabad, only to realize that you can't rule India sitting in Daulatabad. So Mia, Biwi, Bhais, Bacha, Bakri, Makan, Dukan, back from Daulatabad to Delhi. 40,000 people died in the process. It was a total chaotic failure. His two greatest achievements, Diwan-e-Kohi and giving Takkavi loans, which are farmer loans. He started the practice of giving Takkavi loans. The farmer loans or agri loans, which are basically low interest loans, which were given during his period. Another king mentioned in the options is Muhammad Quli Qutb Shah, who ruled from 1580 to 1612. He was the fifth Sultan of Qutb Shahi dynasty of Golconda. See, in Golconda there was a very big kingdom, the Golconda kingdom, the Qutb Shahi dynasty. Quli Qutb Shah basically was one of the greatest kings of that Golconda empire. He founded the city of Hyderabad in south central India. In fact, Hyderabad became an architectural masterpiece of the Deccan Bahmani style. It was actually an architectural masterpiece of Deccan Bahmani style. Golconda. He founded the city of Hyderabad. There is a theory saying that Hyderabad's old name was Bhagyanagar, but at this point historians do not have adequate references to actually conclusively identify this. Next question. Amir Khusro was a famous poet in the court of Akbar, Shah Jahan, Ibrahim Lodi, Alauddin Khilji. So Amir Khusro was actually a Sultanate poet, Delhi Sultanate. Akbar, Shah Jahan were both Mughals. So they are out of the question. So based on elimination, they are out of the question. You should get confused only between Ibrahim Lodi and Alauddin Khilji. But Alauddin Khilji is the guy who actually gave the title 𝗕𝗏𝗍 or Parrot of India to Alauddin Khilji. So the answer must be Amir Khusro was in the court of Alauddin Khilji. Amir Khusro was a classical poet, Persian poet, Sufi musician, writer of the 13th century in Khilji's court. He was also commonly referred to as father of Qawwali. The tradition of Qawwal or Qawwal style of singing, he introduced it. He was also a disciple of Hazrat Nizam-ud-Din Auliya, a Sufi saint in Delhi. A Sufi saint in Delhi, Hazrat Nizam-ud-Din Auliya's follower. Khusro is also known to have introduced two important musical traditions called Tarana and Khayal or Call, which eventually became the most popular Hindustani musical schools. Alauddin Khilji appreciated Khusro's poetry, invited many of the poets to his court, but Khusro was always honored and respected by Alauddin. In fact, we believe he was also given the title Amir by Alauddin Khilji. Amir Khusro also composed poetry in early forms of Urdu. There is also belief that he is actually the founder of the musical instruments tabla and sitar. Sitar essentially is Indianized word for a word called sehtar. Seh means three, tar means strings. In Persian, it basically means three strings. Some of the most important books of Amir Khusro are Nusifir, Tughlaqnama, 𝗳𝗏𝗏, 𝗪𝗏 𝗪𝗁𝗁. Ziauddin Barani also talks about Amir Khusro and existence of Amir Khusro. One belief is Khusro seems to have served 8 different Delhi Sultanate kings. Next question. Qutub Minar was built in which century? 9th, 10th, 12th, 13th century. Option is 13th century. Qutub Minar definitely started by the Mamelukes. The construction began by Qutbuddin Aybak, completed by Iltutmish. Since together they belong to 13th century, the answer will be 13th century, 1206 to 1236. These both kings, 1206 to 1236. Qutub Minar, 13th century monument, 238 feet. It is a tapering tower divided into 5 floors or 5 stories. It's a mix of polygonal and circular shapes. It's largely built from red and buff sandstone. That's the reason why Qutub Minar sort of looks reddish, red and buff sandstone. It has very high decorative balconies with a series of inscriptions intertwined with foliated designs. Foliated designs are like leaf type designs, like this type of design. Qutbuddin Aybak started the construction. Iltutmish completed the construction of Qutub Minar. Next question. Given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion and other is reasoning. Buland Darwaza at Fatehpur Sikri was built by Akbar in 1602. He wanted to commemorate the conquest of Gujarat. Select the correct answers from the codes given below. See, assertion reasoning is a pattern of questions where you need to answer the question understanding the question within the domains of the question. It is not about what you know. You should only be able to answer based on these two. The assertion that Buland Darwaza at Fatehpur Sikri was built by Akbar in 1602, you need to just check if this assertion of this statement is right based on the reason given. He wanted to commemorate his conquest of Gujarat. Let us see the answer. The answer is true because yes, Buland Darwaza was built in Fatehpur Sikri by Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar only to commemorate his victory over Gujarat. After a profound campaign for 3 months, he was able to successfully conquer Gujarat. Buland Darwaza was built to commemorate Emperor Akbar's victory over Gujarat. Buland Darwaza literally a door, the door of victory. It was built in 1602 by Emperor Akbar to commemorate his victory of Gujarat in 1573. It is actually now the main entrance to Jama Masjid at Fatehpur Sikri, and it is literally one of the highest gateways in the world. It is believed that it took almost 12 years to complete, and Buland Darwaza is also made of red and buff sandstone decorated with white and black marbles. Same Akbar also built Fatehpur Sikri, rebuilt it, Agra Fort, Lahore Fort, Allahabad Fort, Humayun's tomb in Delhi. Humayun tomb complex in Delhi is very important. It is actually the central burial complex of all Mughals. And recently, Government of India has started reinvestigating this area for the sake of finding the burial and the body of 𝗓𝗏 Shikoh, the eldest son of Shah Jahan, who was killed by Aurangzeb. Next question, which of the following Mughal rulers has a mosque on his name in Fatehabad? Akbar, Babur, Humayun, Jahangir? The answer is actually Humayun. Humayun was the son of Babur, second king in the series of kings of Mughals. In fact, Humayun's total rule comes in 2 phases, 1530 to 1540, 1555-56. Between 1540 to 1555, Humayun was actually in Iran, in the court of Shah Tazma. In 1540, he lost the kingdom to Sher-Shah Sur. This period is known as Sur era or Sur Interregnum Sur Gap. His name literally means the fortunate. Humayun's name literally means the fortunate. Fatehabad has a small mosque built by Humayun, known as Humayun's Mosque. And the reason behind the mosque was built was basically second Mughal Emperor Humayun fought and defeated Sher-Shah Sur, and initially, but later he was himself defeated by Sher-Shah Suri. And on the way from escaping Delhi, he happened to pass through the city of Fatehabad, and he built the mosque there. Humayun's real name is Naziruddin Muhammad, but his official name or real name is Humayun. He was the second emperor of the Mughal dynasty. He ruled over the territory which we today call Pakistan, North India, Afghanistan, Bangladesh. He lost his kingdom in 1540 to Sher-Shah Sur, but eventually in the Battle of Machhiawada, Machhiawada, in the Battle of Machhiawada, Humayun reconquered the Mughal Empire from the Sur dynasty and established the Mughal Empire again. He lost his territories to Sher-Shah Sur of the Safavid dynasty of Persia, and Sher-Shah Sur, and he lived for 15 years in the court of Shah Tazma, the ruler of Safavid dynasty. After winning back his power, Humayun built a grand library in Delhi. Unfortunately, he fell down from the very library he built to celebrate his victory and died. His memoirs or Humayun's books or Humayun's biography is actually written in a book called Humayunnama, written by his sister Gulbadan Begum, very important for prelims. And remember, this is also in Persian. Even for Mughals, official language was Persian. Persian was the official language of Mughals. In which language were the Mughal court chronicles written? Sanskrit, Hindi, Urdu, Persian. As I just said, it was Persian. Mughal chronicles like Akbarnama, Humayunnama, Jahangirnama, Badshahnama, Alamgirnama, all of these are in Persian. Except Babar. 𝗧𝗬𝗪𝗧 biography written by Babar himself is in Chagatai Turki, which is the mother tongue of Babar. Later this was translated into Persian as Babarnama. Urdu came from amalgamation of Persian with Hindavi. Hindavi was the Hindi that people used to speak in India in those days. The chronicles commissioned by Mughal emperors are very important source of studying Mughal empire, Mughal courts and Mughal traditions. The Mughals were originally, as I said, Chagatai Turki from Samarkand region of Uzbekistan. Turkish was actually their mother tongue. That's the reason first king Babar wrote in Turki, but all others followed Persian, which was the prevalent language in those days. With which Mughal ruler is the Moti Masjid of Agra associated? Aurangzeb, Akbar, Humayun, Shah Jahan. There are few Moti Masjids, but in the options, it is Moti Masjid of Agra associated with Shah Jahan. Agra's Moti Masjid is associated with Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan was the son of Jahangir, Babar, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan. So he was the fifth Mughal emperor who ruled from 1628 to 1658. Agra's Moti Masjid is located in UP. He constructed the Moti Masjid. He is also the guy who constructed or commissioned Taj Mahal, built Red Fort in Delhi, established a city in Delhi called Shahjahanabad, the capital city of Mughals, Jama Masjid and Shalimar Garden in Lahore. Okay, so these were some of the important questions from the Delhi Sultanate and Mughals. We will see in the next session a continuation of this, and we'll see more of medieval India and modern Indian history. Thank you guys. You have a nice day. Bye-bye.